Life to North America, life to Africa, life to South America, life to Europe, life. The good news, I've been sent to declare life to all the people of the earth. Hear ye the word of Jesus Christus. Before I can declare life to you, they gave me this when I became a bishop, and I wore it faithfully. And one day I looked up the meaning of it. It's called a collar. And when I went to find out what is the meaning of a collar, it is what you put around a dog. Today, I destroy the collar of Rome, of Edom from around my neck.
Welcome to the basic facts of the Pathways International cult. Let's start with Kevin Smith proclaims he's a prophet of God. Kevin Antonio Smith was born on April 10, 1982 in Jamaica. Soon after, he and his family moved to Toronto, Canada, where Smith would become interested in religion at a very young age. Smith decided to dedicate his life to religion, and by the time he was 18 years old, he became an ordained minister. But on November 5, 2007, Smith was arrested for sexually assaulting a 21-year-old man in Canada. Smith would spend 6 months in prison and 2 months on probation. After serving out his probation, Smith relocated back to Jamaica, where he would become the youngest bishop in a Jamaican church. It was also around this time that Smith began to proclaim that he was a prophet of God and could receive visions of coming disasters and deaths. He called himself the prophet of the nations. The coronavirus vaccine. In 2012, Smith helped found Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries in Montego Bay, Jamaica. And then in 2018, the church in which Smith had his own congregation was built nearby. Inside Smith's church, he began to tell members that all Christian denominations were evil, especially the Roman Catholic Church, which he would refer to as the beast. He also would preach that Israel was not the true homeland and that his flock were the real Hebrew Israelites. Smith also went on to claim that a handful of musical artists were actually prophets, including rapper Snoop Dogg. According to former members, they were giving certain goals for donations that they were expected to meet, and if they didn't, Smith would state that he prophesied their death and sometimes the death of their family as well. Smith made around $6,500 a week just in donations. He used the donations to buy 2 luxurious homes, designer clothing, and jewelry, as well as a new BMW. Among the rules, members were instructed to call Smith His Excellency, while a selected few were told to call him Daddy. They were also told that they weren't allowed to use anything that was unnatural, such as dishwashing soap, because Smith claimed it caused cataracts and blindness. Members not only had to ask Smith when they could go on vacation, but Smith began to tell members to leave their cell phones at home because they were listening and tracking devices. In August of 2021, Smith's sermons began to heavily teach his members to not get the coronavirus vaccine. Smith would preach that the vaccine was the mark of the beast, because it uses gene therapy to remove God from your body by replacing it with cyborg technology that is supplied by Microsoft to give the government control of your mind and emotions. Shootout with the police. Smith began to warn that the coronavirus vaccine would lead to the enslavement of people, so members began to stockpile food and essentials at the church. On October 17, 2021, around 1:30 in the afternoon, Smith told members that it was time to board the ark, and that they must come to the church that evening dressed all in white, and that only those who were baptized by him were allowed, which ended up being around 144 people. Members who began to arrive at the church stated that they could overhear Smith yelling inside that he was God in the flesh. When everyone had arrived, Smith ordered members to start throwing out stuff from the church's stockpile, mostly wipes, tissues, and soaps. Smith soon after asked member Tanika Gardner if she believed he could bring her back from the dead. Members stated that she replied yes. Then Smith ordered member Andre Ruddick, one of his personal bodyguards, to slit Gardner's throat. Some members were able to slip away from the church after seeing Gardner's murder, one of which was a woman who disobeyed Smith's orders by not leaving her cell phone at home. She called the police, telling them that Smith was murdering members of the church. But before police could arrive, Smith murdered another member named Michael Brown, who was suffering from an illness that caused him to be hooked up to tubes. Smith removed these tubes and Brown bled to death. Smith had also handed out knives to higher-ranking members and ordered them to stab other members because it was time to embark on a heavenly journey. He told these senior members that they were archangels. When police arrived, they were met with gunfire from some church members, including Smith. One male member was killed by police when he ran at them with a machete. After a 2-hour standoff, police were able to gain entry to the church. Inside, police found numerous knives on the floor, naked male members, and 14 underage children. Various members had been shot and or stabbed, but in all, only 3 people had to be taken to the hospital. Child abuse allegations. After Smith's arrest and around 40 other people, remaining members of the church set up a GoFundMe campaign to raise $30,000 to hire a lawyer, mostly for Smith. They ended up raising $25,000. On October 25, 2021, while Smith was being transferred from Montego Bay to CIB headquarters in downtown Kingston to be charged with 2 counts of murder, Smith was involved in a horrific car accident that not only took a policeman's life, but also his own. Smith was pronounced dead at Linstead Hospital from multiple blunt force trauma. Two days later, Andre Ruddick, who killed Gardner, was charged with murder and conspiracy to commit murder. The remaining members who were arrested that night were charged under the Disaster Risk Management Act, which was a government decree that enacted no movement nights, hoping that with people having to stay home would help lessen the spread of the coronavirus. They were all released and fined $7,500 each. Today, the church sits abandoned, while some of Smith's congregation believe that he faked his death because some members of the church were police officers. And it's worth noting that around the time the murders took place, Smith was being investigated for sexual abuse of male children who were part of his congregation. But whether or not you believe Smith was a prophet of God or a megalomaniac, you now know the basic facts of the Pathways International cult. Thanks for watching.